Tonight, floods in Kentucky continue to damage cities, pop star Katy Perry has an out-of-this-world experience, and the Clemson Fire Department showcases its university-inspired fire truck. All here on Clemson News Now. Welcome and thank you for joining us. I'm Ann Withers.
And I'm Bella Rosen. The PGA Masters took place this past week, with the final round closing out the weekend on Sunday. After years of playing in the tournament, Rory McIlroy earned his new title as winner of the 2025 Masters. After an 11-year major drought and years of falling just short at Augusta, McIlroy closed out his career Grand Slam with a hard-fought victory.
His final round was anything but smooth. He opened with a double bogey, found the water at Rae's Creek, and then went into the first sudden death playoff at the Masters since 2017. The crowd at Augusta held their breath with every swing, and when his final putt dropped, the roar of the crowd said it all. Fans love Rory, but not just for his game, for what he stands for. He has stayed true to the PGA Tour through controversial times, refusing to join the Saudi-backed LIV Golf League like many other U.S. pro golfers. Many golfers nowadays take offers from Saudi Arabia to play in tournaments there for millions of dollars, earning huge checks and getting tons of extra practice ahead of their competitors back in America. For omitting these offers, Rory has established a good image in the eyes of U.S. golf fans, making the victory that much better. He's been in a constant voice for tradition and integrity in the sport.
Over the past few weeks, over 18 people have been reported dead, and communities across Kentucky are underwater after days of severe flooding hit the region. Heavy rains and strong winds have pounded the South and Midwest over the weekend, causing rivers to rise and homes to be submerged. Kentucky, along with parts of Tennessee and Arkansas, have been among the hardest hit.
In Frankfort, Kentucky's capital, emergency crews navigated flooded streets in inflatable boats to check on residents. Sandbags were stacked around homes and businesses, and utilities were shut off as the Kentucky River kept rising. On Sunday, the river surpassed 47 feet and was expected to crest above 49 feet, a level that could break records. The city's flood wall is built to withstand up to 51 feet of water. With more rain possibly on the way, officials are urging residents to stay alert as crews continue to rescue and protection efforts in the days ahead. We'll continue to update as the conditions hopefully improve for the state of Kentucky.
We now turn to Jordan in our sports department with all the latest updates in Clemson athletics.
Thanks, Bella. Well, Tigers, just a couple weeks from the end of the school year means we are in the final countdown for most of our springtime action. But don't be too upset just yet, though, because the three teams I'm going to cover here in a moment will be active for a lot longer than their regular season. At least we hope. Starting things off with baseball, the top 5 Tigers took on Stanford in a 3-game series at Doug Kingsmore Stadium last weekend, looking to remain unbeaten in series in ACC play. After an Aiden Kanak masterpiece Friday night gave the Tigers an 11-1 run rule victory in Game 1, the stage was set for Saturday night where the series victory was on the line. Colin Priest wasted no time opening the scoring in the bottom of the first with a 3-run shot in the right center, and it was 3-0 Tigers. In the top of the second, the Cardinal had an answer of epic proportions as Ethan Hott would single to bring in 2 runs, followed by Trevor Haskins singling and tying the game at 3. A Tiger error in right field allowed the Cardinal to take a 4-3 lead, and by the time the damage was done, it was 5-3 Cardinal. Fast forward now to the bottom of the 6th, we're tied at 10. That is until Jacob Jarrell stepped up to the plate and homered, giving the Tigers an 11-10 lead and eventually the series victory as the Cardinal went scoreless in the final 3 innings. While the Tigers did take the series, they fell on Sunday to Stanford 11-6, suffering just their 4th loss of ACC play. And up next for the now 3rd-ranked Tigers, the road doesn't get much easier as they have a 3-game series with number 17 Louisville this weekend at home, and then they close out their 8-game homestand with the number 5 Georgia Bulldogs Saturday, April 22nd at 8. Moving over to women's lacrosse, last Thursday the Tigers took on Stanford as well, but unlike the baseball team, they had to make the trip to the West Coast. Stanford had no real trouble in this one, and a series of unfortunate events with penalties on Clemson led to the Cardinal taking an 8-goal lead 10-2 to the final quarter of action after it was just a 4-2 deficit for the visitors at half. Ultimately, the comeback just too much to recover from, and Stanford took the victory in this one, 14-8. The The Tigers now sit at 11-5 overall with a 5-3 record in ACC play, having them 5th in the conference standings. They closed out their regular season in style here at the lacrosse facility earlier tonight, picking up a victory 14-6 against Pittsburgh to wrap up the program's second regular season of action. And finally, we wrap things up tonight with softball, and what a season for the Tigers after questions surrounded them coming into the season about how they would recover from the loss of 10 of their athletes, including Valerie Cagle, the face of Clemson softball last season. The answer? They recovered, and then some, and notched win number 35 of the season in epic fashion on Tuesday night. Battling in a midweek matchup against the in-state rivals, it was the number 12 Gamecocks against the number 19 Tigers in the final matchup of the 2024-25 Palmetto Series. This one was a stalemate for the first 2 innings until Gamecocks first baseman Ariana Rhodey homered and gave Carolina a 1-0 lead. The Tigers pitching held strong and allowed for Marion Collins to tie things up in the 6th inning with a homer of her own. It was knotted up at 1 after 7 full innings, so the folks at McWhorter retreated to some extra softball. After Brooke McCubbin shut down the Carolina bats in the top of the 9th, Marion Collins returned to the plate looking to win the Palmetto Series in the most dramatic way possible. Collins did exactly that on a 1-2 count, putting the game away in style and allowing the Tigers to tie their win total from last season and focus on ACC play this weekend. The Tigers sit 3rd in the conference, just 3 games behind both FSU and Virginia Tech, and they look to stay in that heated race for the top of the ACC as they take on Boston College at McWhorter Stadium this weekend. Catch Game 2 of the series tomorrow at 6 and the series finale Saturday at noon. That's all I have from Clemson Sports and wraps up a semester to remember for the Tigers this spring. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you in the fall for a season opener against LSU in Death Valley to headline our return to school. Take it from here, Ann.
Clemson students were seen climbing trees and perched on fences for a better view as crowds gathered to hear from the father-son pastors Cliff and Stuart Connectly. They led wide open conversations about Christianity on April 7th and April 8th. The duo gave speeches and sermons on Clemson's North Green and at the amphitheater for anyone to come and observe. Known for bringing their ministry, Give Me an Answer, to college campuses around the country, Cliff and Stuart didn't hold back, tackling tough questions, hot topics, and deep theology during the multi-hour Q&A sessions that drew hundreds of curious students and passers-by.
Their website reads, "We're here to engage skeptics, empower truth seekers, and offer meaningful responses to questions and doubts." That mission was certainly on full display. Cliff, senior pastor at Grace Community Church in Connecticut, dove into challenging topics like contradictions in the Gospels and the interpretation of Genesis. Stuart, meanwhile, didn't shy away from calling out cultural Christianity, especially the habits that young Christians in college tend to turn to.
As the crowd grew, university police had to step in and ask students to safely step down from trees and elevated surfaces. But the packed turnout didn't waver, especially later when Cliff and Stuart hosted an open-air Q&A at the amphitheater where attendees submitted questions online and the discussions kept going. For Cliff and Stuart, their goal was fulfilled. They sparked real conversations, challenged assumptions, and helped students wrestle with faith in a world full of questions.
Reporting from our WYFF hall within the Hendricks Student Center, we now go to Caitlin with a local news update.
Thank you, Bella. A tense 12-hour standoff in Pickens County came to a close early Saturday morning after a suspect opened fire on deputies and then barricaded himself inside a home with 3 others. It all began Friday night when deputies tried to serve an arrest on warrant on James Franklin Marchbanks at a house on Nutrats Road in Central. Instead of cooperating, Marchbanks started shooting deputies, returned to fire, but thankfully none were injured in the exchange as the situation escalated. Marchbanks locked himself inside the home. Multiple law enforcement agencies flushed to the scenes to help, including SLED's tactical team, the Easley Police Department, the Anderson County Sheriff's Office, SWAT, and the U.S. Marshal Fugitive Task Force. Around 4 a.m., after hours of negotiation and mounting tensions, Marchbanks surrendered peacefully. He's now facing a long list of charges, including 8 counts of attempted murder and 3 counts of kidnapping. He's being held without bond at the Pickens County Detention Center. This was South Carolina's 12th officer-involved shooting of the year, and the first one reported in Pickens County in the year 2025. That's all I have for you guys here. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Caitlin. Pop artist Katy Perry traded the stage for the stars on Monday, April 14th, rocketing into space with 5 other women aboard Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin spacecraft. This marked the first all-female spaceflight since 1963. The journey lasted just over 11 minutes, taking the crew more than 62 miles above Earth, past the Kármán line, before parachuting safely back down to the West Texas desert.
Joining Perry on the historic flight were Bezos' fiancée Lauren Sanchez, CBS anchor Gayle King, former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bao, civil rights activist Amanda Wynn, and filmmaker Carrie Ann Flynn. After landing, Perry symbolically lifted a daisy to the sky in honor of her daughter Daisy. King, who has openly shared her fear of flying, kissed the ground the moment she stepped out of the capsule. Sanchez described the view from space as profound, adding that it was quiet but really alive. The crew even caught a glimpse of the moon in total darkness before turning back to see Earth glowing like a jewel. While some critics have shrugged off celebrity spaceflights as publicity stunts, the crew stood by the mission's deeper meaning. "Most people are cheering us on," said King. "This journey means something to young women, girls, and anyone who's ever been afraid to dream big."
The Blue Origin capsule was fully autonomous with no pilot needed. Each passenger went through 2 days of training focused on safety, zero-gravity procedures, and emergency protocols. While the company hasn't shared exact ticket costs, reserving a seat reportedly requires a deposit of $150,000, underscoring the exclusivity of these suborbital trips. Many argue that private space ventures like this are pushing boundaries and opening new doors. Whether seen as a bold leap or a flashy joyride, the mission has already made history and, for some, sparked a little wonder of what space travel accessibility may hold in the future.
We now go to Brian in our weather department with the latest forecast going into the week ahead.
Well, Tigers, it might be time to break out that summer wardrobe, as this weekend will bring high temperatures reaching 83 degrees and lots of sunshine on Friday. But don't worry, that sunburn from last week shouldn't get much worse, as this weekend will be mostly cloudy and have an overcast well into next week. The highs are around 75 and the lows around 60 throughout the week will be accompanied by a light breeze, creating the perfect conditions to decompress outside before those dreadful finals. That being said, there will be perfect opportunities to get back to your study grind with a high chance of showers on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. With temperatures hovering around the 60s and 70s, hopefully the old saying will ring true, as our April showers here in Clemson will bring some May flowers. This week will give all of our Tigers a chance to enjoy campus and wrap up the academic year on a positive note. Back to you.
Clemson University Fire Department and EMS is getting a new look with their latest fire truck. Sutphen Corporation in Hilliard, Ohio, built the new truck, which features Clemson orange and showcases the department's connection to the university. The new truck was on display in Indianapolis, Indiana last week. The Fire Department Instructors Conference International gave firefighters from across the country a chance to check out the new truck. Aside from the colors, the truck also has a 75-foot ladder, which provides increased flexibility and allows it to better serve the Clemson community during all types of emergencies. In addition, the department also received a new set of extrication tools in matching orange and purple color scheme. The new truck should be delivered to Clemson over the summer, so make sure you're keeping a lookout for it on campus this fall.
That's all we have for you this week. Thank you so much for a great semester of news, sports, and weather updates. Be sure to tune in the fall, where we'll continue to give you all the latest news nationally to locally. I'm Bella Rosen.
And I'm Ann Withers. Clemson News Now.